There's nothing more humbling and inspiring
and attractive
than witnessing somebody be truly and uniquely exceptional.
Except, of course, for their journeys. Maybe it's luck.
Maybe it's genetics.
Maybe it's work ethic.
Scott and I wanted to see if we could discover what makes some of the universe's most incredible humans the successes they've become, and ultimately find out exactly how they became
Ugh, so good.
So good. How did you do it? How did you do it? You're so good.
Hey you guys, welcome to another episode of Ugh, You're So Good. Our guest today is Christina Perri, and you might know Christina from her song Jar of Hearts or her song 1,000 Years, both of which sold millions of copies. She's an incredibly successful singer-songwriter, and she's here to tell us how she did it.
Hi, you guys, what's up? It's Scott.
And Rozzi.
And this is our new podcast, Ugh, You're So Good, where we interview the best of the best and find out why they're the best
Why
of the best.
they're the best.
Christina's laughing over
She's
here.
already laughing.
I didn't know that was the title.
Oh, okay, thank you.
It's like, ugh, you're so good. Like, we're happy for you, but also like,
But also,
we're
like,
pissed.
it's mildly
I'm not
annoying.
supposed to talk yet. I'm not supposed to talk
Yeah.
yet.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, our guest today is amazing.
Our guest
We're
is very
huge
exciting.
fans.
I have been aggressively DMing this guest for months to make this happen. So we're so excited.
She writes the best songs. She's made a lot of people cry.
She's made so many people cry in a good, cathartic,
Amazing
healthy way.
Yes.
The beautiful and brilliant Christina Perri.
Hello.
Christina Perri.
Thanks for having me.
We don't even really need to say her accolades. Everyone knows
Everyone
that.
knows them. Yeah, you're just a pop star queen.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, I guess maybe this is what we're trying to do. We're going to start with maybe the pinnacle. Where was the moment?
The breaking point.
The breaking point in your career.
Not the breaking point.
The ceiling crack moment.
Yeah. The big
Ceiling
break
crack.
moment.
Big
the
break.
moment.
Oh, okay. Buckle up.
Yeah.
No, really. This is just a crazy story. I feel like I don't want to leave out any details, but the ceiling broke for me in like a gigantic way because I was a waitress and then I was a recording artist. I feel like it couldn't have been more dramatic. I mean, that's just me in general. I'm very dramatic, but I feel like my career, the way that happened, because I was, I'm trying to think of how far back I want to go. Do you guys know Kelty from E.T.?
Yeah, I love
Okay,
Kelty.
she's my best friend since I was 13.
Wow.
I have to include her because she's my fairy godmother.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so she was in New York. I was living in Philly where I grew up.
Mm-hmm.
I moved out to LA and she's still a Radio City Rockette in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to kind of mush together a couple years, but
Yeah.
I moved to LA when I was 21 on my 21st birthday, very dramatically,
Wow.
guitar, suitcase. I was here, I guess from 21 and then 4 months go by. And I got a job, a waitressing job. I had 3. I was trying to just afford living in LA.
Yeah.
I feel like that part's really important too before I get to the big break.
Yeah.
Because we can even go back and talk about that. But that was, the moment where you just have so much courage. I feel like all of us have come to this point where it's oh, let me sacrifice everything I love and know, everyone I know at home
Where
or
I feel safe.
all my comfort and let me go. And right now my sister-in-law is 23 and deciding whether or not to leave Jersey. I'm leave.
Yeah.
I'm the worst influence, but not really.
Yeah.
I'm
Greatly.
how are you going to get to the ceiling
Yeah.
to break without doing that very brave thing?
Yeah.
So anyway, I do that when I'm 21 on my 21st birthday. And then I'm a waitress. I also get married. I get unmarried. It's crazy.
Living
It's
Living
chaos.
life.
20s.
21, crazy, waitressing, and living that lifestyle that so many waitresses live in LA where, you're just up all night and
Where'd you
sleep all
waitress?
day. It was a place called Chocolat on Melrose and Kilkea. It was then called the Red O, and now I think it's nothing.
Okay.
But it was huge and great for me because it afforded me to live in LA. So I did that, and all along, I've been singing and writing songs since I was 15. I should also maybe mention that.
Right.
I have been singing since I was born, but then I started writing music when I was 15, just super emo songs. Jar of Hearts has been always.
Yeah.
That's just me as a
Who you are.
15 to 23-year-old.
Yeah.
People love that. Oh, God.
I mean, I've just never had luck with relationships, so it's been really, really helpful as a songwriter. And
Quick side question. What's the name of the first song you ever wrote?
The Perfect Man.
The Perfect Man.
And
you didn't even know me yet.
I know. The best part is the first song I wrote was The Perfect Man, who is about Jar. I call him Jar, by the way. The guy I wrote Jar of Hearts about.
Oh, his name was Jar?
No.
I got confused for a second too.
I was like, how
Both
clever.
looked at me confused, and I was like, wait, am I not saying this right? Yeah, his name is not Jar.
I get it. You're being kind and saving his.
Right, but I also
got
like
it.
dislike him so much he doesn't get his name.
Wow,
He's
yes.
only Jar.
Okay.
But he was also the perfect man, and then he cheated on me, and then the second song I wrote was called Tragedy.
Oh
so
my
like
God.
that's how it went. Like this was like
Two
that's my
opposite
life.
ends of the
Listen, my album's called Bad Together, so
Yeah.
I
Oh my God,
relate
I
to
love
you.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've all been through it.
Yeah. And this is what we do. We write
Yeah,
about
it's
it. You know,
exactly.
I'm not even mad about it.
Yeah,
I'm like,
no,
thank you
it's
so
a
much for
gift.
gifting me like
Exactly.
this my whole career. Sort of, I guess. I don't want to give them all the credit. But
Yeah.
so anyway, so I had always been writing music, but I was super, super shy. So I didn't perform. Like I just genuinely didn't drive around in a van, didn't play shows, didn't play open mics, didn't play bars. Like
Wow.
was so like painfully shy, even though I may not seem it now. But
Yeah, I was like, I can't
Don't
picture
at all.
that.
no,
yeah.
I'm like super introverted. Like, I mean, I think I grew out of it a bit,
Yeah.
but especially because I kind of had to with my career. But we'll get to that. So anyway, so I always wrote songs, but didn't show people. Like, it was just cathartic. It was just like creative healing for me in my bedroom. Super emo. Like, never really went out. Like, just sat in my bathroom and cried.
Yeah.
Like, that was my adolescence.
What I love about this quick little asterisk is like your career is so authentic. Like your song that's so authentic.
That's
like
why it
you
resonated with
yeah,
so many
that's why it
millions of
works
people.
because you're just being
thank
yourself.
You. Thank
Yeah.
you. That's true.
Yeah.
I really am, and all this stuff really happens. But so when I get to LA, like I did come here for a purpose, but I really thought I was going to write songs for other people, just because I was like,
Yeah.
oh no, like I'm not the girl at the party where a guitar comes out, and I'm like, let me sing for you.
Scott and I are like, I'll do it.
I can't really.
Yeah. No, totally. I feel like there's two versions of us in Hollywood.
yeah.
Like literally, we're one or the other. And if you know the Enneagram, like it's a 3 and a 4. Like the 3 is like the
Yes.
performer, the 4 is like, and you can do both. Like
Yeah.
Whoa,
truly.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, I will give
Oh, honey,
you that
we'll get
later.
into that. That's
Yeah.
a Nashville thing. Is that
It's such a Nashville
everyone in
thing.
Nashville loves the
Loves
Oh my
numbers
God.
in general.
Yeah.
The charts.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate the writing numbers thing. I'm like, I have no idea what 154 means.
Yeah.
So anyway, yes, I'm the other kind that's like, no, don't look at me, please.
Yeah.
But like secretly, please listen to my music.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
it's just
yeah.
so bizarre. So I moved to LA in order to maybe write songs because I heard like you could do that here. Like that's a job. And so that's really why I came here when I was 21, and then got wrapped up in the whatever partying world and got married and was like living in Echo Park with a Chihuahua and a BMW. I'm like, who am I? Like I was just like a different
Wait,
person.
did you marry Jar?
No,
Okay.
no.
All I can think of is a Star Wars character when you say that.
Oh, Jar Jar Binks. Can you please call him Jar Jar
Like-
Binks forever now? Oh my God, what an epiphany. I'm changing it forever.
Oh, great. You heard it here first, you guys.
Forever. Yes.
Jar Jar
Especially 'cause
Binks of
everyone
Hearts.
hates Jar Jar Binks. That's made my whole day. Right. So no, I married some other guy. Like I
Okay.
was a hot mess. I'm not gonna lie. Okay. So I was pretty messy from 21 to 23. So that's actually important because I really was distracted. I was really into drugs and alcohol, and I really couldn't focus.
Wow.
Like so from those 3 years living in LA, like being married, being a waitress, like I didn't write songs. Like I moved here to write songs. And I think it's really important. Maybe I mentioned that because even though I was super brave and like moved across the country and look at me and I have this big dream, like I got distracted. I
Yeah.
feel like that happens so much.
And
in
were you
this town.
distracted because you felt you were scared to try?
Scared to try, but also really love drugs and alcohol. Like I feel like it was a mix
Yeah.
of both. Like I feel like it was not my fault, but I feel like it was my fear that was getting in the way, but then also just being an addict. Like I found
Yeah.
out later that like I should be sober.
Being an addict is a real thing.
But it's a real thing.
Yeah.
And so many creative people, like it's very
So
common
many,
in our
yeah.
world. So like, so I didn't know that. So 23,
And I've heard
me.
that story a bunch of times of people who weren't really successful until they got sober.
Yeah.
That's like a
Yeah.
that's a common thing.
Because you can't
Or-
focus when you're numb all
Yeah.
the time.
Totally. And if you have a
Right.
problem, I mean, if you don't
Right.
have a
Yeah, no
problem,
problem,
like,
no problem.
cool,
Yeah.
you know, but if you have a problem, it's definitely going to be the thing you sacrifice for drugs and alcohol.
Right.
Like, this is how I sort of describe it to a lot of people. Like, if you don't have a problem, you're not willing to lose everything for it. So, like, for me, like, I didn't care that I wasn't writing songs. I probably did if you would have asked me, like, hey, you're not really writing songs, but I was
Right.
just so distracted by the disease of it all, you
Yeah.
know? So I did definitely hit my bottom, which is amazing in my personal story, like aside from my professional one. Like,
Yeah.
so me getting sober April of 2009, so 10 years ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you,
Congrats.
thank
It's
you.
amazing.
That was such a big moment for me. I guess I have a ton of little ceilings that broke.
Yeah.
I guess I'm giving the longest answer ever
No,
to
but
your
no, it's okay.
question,
I'm
but
so
it's a podcast. We can
Focus
go
on
slow.
this.
No, I'm in it.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So yeah, because I feel like that ceiling was huge for me to break too, is the getting sober, waking up. It really felt like I woke up and I was like, whoa, first of all, don't want to be married to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like, you're the first to go. I mean, he was a genuinely sweet human being. We both it just wasn't
It was
right.
wrong. Yeah.
Obviously, because everything has worked out since. So,
Yeah.
we decided that we're not going to be together. And then I moved to a tiny little apartment on Beechwood. So I told you I was like in Echo Park. I had a BMW, whatever. So that life I leave behind completely. And I'm like, hey, sorry, made a light mistake. I'm going to go this way. You can have everything. Like all I
Yeah.
need is a bed and a keyboard and an apartment on Beechwood.
Wow.
And side note, this is so can I curse?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, this is so
We're like,
fucking crazy. That the only, I have a picture of this too. The only thing I had, because I had no money, like I literally just left everything and started over. And I had a little, what my friends called a dog bed. Like it was literally just like a thing I slept
floor.
on the floor.
Yeah.
And a keyboard that my parents bought me because they were like, okay, like we'll give you this,
Yeah.
because I was like, oh my life, what did I do?
Yeah.
But they were like sort of proud of me too because I had
Yeah.
gotten sober. And so that was awesome. And then I had the 4 book covers from Twilight like framed on my wall.
No way.
I swear to God, is that fucking weird?
That is some
Like
universe
even
shit.
seriously,
That is, if anybody out there doesn't get that.
Oh, yeah.
That your biggest
That's
song
my
ever
song, yeah.
is 1,000 Years. Yeah.
the swan song of the saga.
Which was
Yeah.
Twilight 2.
Yeah.
It was actually Breaking Dawn Part 1 and
Breaking
2, so
Dawn.
it was
Oh.
movie 4 and 5.
Oh, wow.
That
Yeah.
is so
That's
crazy.
so cool.
Yeah, right?
And why? You're just a fan.
Just a fan of the books.
Yeah.
And like I remember framing
love that.
them and like, being like, well, I got nothing else to hang up. So it was like just the 4 book covers on
It's a
the wall
vision board. It's literally a
it
vision
was-
board.
without like trying. Like I looked at it all day long. I'm like,
crazy.
An
Yeah.
accidental
Like-
vision board.
That's
Yes.
amazing.
So that's a really true story. So that at that point, then now we're chronologically in September of 2009.
Yeah.
So I go home. This is where Kelty comes into the story because
Mm-hmm.
I go to Philly. I go home for Christmas. My parents are like, "You're not going back to LA." Like,
Yeah.
why?
How
And
old
I'm
are you at this point?
23.
Okay.
Actually, was I 22? No, I was 23.
Mm-hmm.
So my parents say, hey, so December 2009, they're like, hey, please don't go back to LA. You have no reason to be there. You've done a ton of terrible things.
Yeah.
We can't support you. My parents are amazing, but they're hairdressers. And they're like,
Yeah.
they're like, so you just need to like be here now. Like you did it. Like you can just be like, cool, cross it
Wow.
off your list and be done, And I was like, I really genuinely feel like I didn't try hard enough. And like,
Yeah.
I can say that now because like I meant it. Like I was a waitress, I was partying. I was like, I didn't do writing sessions. Like I want to be a songwriter and like, I didn't even do a writing session. Like,
Yeah.
I just didn't try.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that's a really important part of the story too, because so many people in our town, like,
Yeah.
2 people move out for every one that moves in is what they say. So like I almost was that person. I was like
Wow.
legit almost that person, like already in Philly, like comfy again with my whole Italian family. Like
Yeah.
everyone being like, don't go, don't leave me.
I could just.
I could just stay.
dance, yeah.
Yeah.
And Jar calls me up.
Jar.
He's like, let's get back together. This is why Jar of Hearts was written. It was December 29th, 2009, I wrote the song.
Wow.
Because he's like, hey, let's get back together. Like, it's always been you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, this is like a 9-year on and off relationship.
Oh my God.
So I'm like,
Brutal.
okay, maybe, right? I'm thinking like maybe.
Yeah.
And then I was like, no. And it was really genuinely the first time I ever like said no and I meant it. Like that's what I say to people
Wow,
a lot
that's
because
powerful.
because we say no all the time to
Yeah.
someone we're still hanging on to.
For sure.
And like we're faking the no, or even if we say no and like we're white knuckling it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and then like
yeah.
one day you just like 1,000% mean it. You're
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah, and you can
I'm good.
feel that.
And it's victorious.
so
It's like a
powerful.
really big day.
Yeah.
So that happened for me, and then I wrote Jar of Hearts, and then in the same like week,
Where'd you write it? Like at your parents' house?
my parents' house in my bedroom, like my childhood bedroom. I wrote it on the guitar.
And did
So
you
it
feel
was
like it was special?
Not at all.
Yeah.
Like honestly, it was just like all my other songs. I mean, in my mind.
Yeah.
I called it Jar Full of Hearts, and I wrote it on guitar. And I remember I went down to the kitchen because I was home for Christmas.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Hey, Mom, look what I just wrote." And she was like, that's nice, honey.
Yeah.
Like, no one. I mean, like, no one was like,
Crazy.
that's
Yeah.
the one.
Yeah.
I'm going to change your life.
Yeah.
My mom was like, cool.
Yeah.
Do you want pasta? I remember that same week I get a phone call from the guy who owns Chocolat. This is where it starts to get really crazy.
Yeah.
So talk about manifesting. So the guy from Chocolat calls me up, who it has since closed, and he's opened like a new cafe. And he's like, hey, would you come to Beverly Hills and manage this cafe for me? Because my parents did say, like, you can't go back to LA unless you have a job.
Yeah.
And I had been a waitress, and like, you know, then I was married and didn't do it for a while. So they were like, well, what are you going to do? And then this guy like literally calls me and is like, here, can you do this? And I'm like, yes. So I'm like, Mom, I got a job, you know? So they were like, oh God. So
Yeah.
I go back to LA, but I managed this cafe like right on La Cienega and Melrose Place.
Okay.
So like that teeny, it's Fig and Olive now. But it was called Melrose Place Cafe. And I was like 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., the manager of this
Wow.
cafe. And then I was supposed to work on my craft and write songs and do shows because Kelty moves to LA. She's like, listen,
Yeah.
I am your only fan. She was like, literally, I'm the only person that watches your
That is
videos
a real friend
on
right
YouTube.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was like, but like, you're really good.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, like, I'm not, like, whatever, it's fine. And she's like, no, I'm coming to manage you. And I was like, okay. Like because she had time off or whatever.
Oh, amazing.
That's
so
so
she
cool.
moves to the apartment across the street from me on Beechwood. And she's going to manage me, but like she doesn't know anyone in the music business.
Yeah.
She's a dancer.
Yeah.
And you know, and so, but she's a hustler. So like
Yeah.
she got where she's at
Yeah.
from hustling.
And so she's your friend from high school.
No, she's, I was 15, but she was my brother's girlfriend when I was 15.
Oh my
and then they broke
God.
up and I kept Kelty.
Yeah,
And so it
she's
was
yours.
just like,
Yeah.
yeah.
But she has this like amazing personality where you
Oh
like
my God.
instantly
How do you
love
know
her.
her?
She interviews artists at like red carpets.
She's on,
Oh,
she works
okay,
for
so I
ET. Now
would
she has her own
recognize her.
show on E.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
She
you would.
has interviewed us a few
For
times,
sure,
and
for
I love
sure.
her. She's like interviewed us since the beginning. So.
That's amazing. Okay.
And she's self-made so big time, like from making blogs on her own and doing like all
Yeah.
the video, all the content. Like she's just a hustler. So
Yeah.
that's why I think she thought,
She can manage
hey,
you.
you need to be out in the world and I'm going to manage you. And
Mm-hmm.
so when she came here, she had good intentions, but at the same time, like I worked all the time.
Yeah.
I ended up having to get another job, like just to pay my rent
Yeah.
because it's just how LA is. So when Kelty would be like, can you play a show? I'd be like, no, I like genuinely
Yeah.
can't. So fast forward maybe like a month or so of us ping-ponging back and forth, like trying to get me to do stuff. Kelty goes on Match.com. I'm sorry this story is so long.
No,
but
I'm so
this is so good.
I can't miss any details.
Match.com, you can't leave us hanging on that.
So Kelty's looking for her husband, like hardcore, right? So she's on Match.com and she dates this photographer guy, I think for one date, or no, maybe it was 2 dates. But she was like, I'm gonna marry him, whatever. He breaks up with her. He
Yeah.
was just like, hey, it's not gonna work out, whatever. And so she freaks out, and this was January 28th, 2010. And she and I had made a list. I forgot this part. We made a list like at the end of 2009. Where we wrote a letter to the universe and we said like these
Cool.
are the things that like we want. We just
Yeah.
made like a manifestation
Yeah.
list. This was all Kelty, by the way, because I didn't
That's
even
cute.
think
My
to do
best
this.
friend Taddy, who I mention on literally every single podcast.
Yeah, hi, Taddy.
She and I, since we became friends in college, we make every we still do it like by schools, like by semester, like every semester, every
That's
winter
cute.
break, we make Venn diagrams of goals
Wow.
together, and
Dude,
we always. And
I think it's
that's
so
our letter
powerful.
to the universe.
That is
Yeah.
so important.
And we read them back, and they're so funny. They're like, "Be open to love." Like,
Well, that's amazing. That's way better
Anyway.
than our first one because we've done it now every single year since.
Yeah.
But the first one we did was, and I was the one like rolling my eyes because she's like, "You get a pen," so like I wrote it down.
Yeah.
And it was like Kelty. Hers were quit Diet Coke, get great bangs, stop dating losers.
Those are so pure.
right? So important in 2010, really. And
Quit
and
Diet Coke.
yeah, which
Diet
honestly
Coke.
she still has it. I'm gonna call her.
my favorite one that Tad and I do on like every single one is. Fun is not underrated. Like, have fun. We're like, because we just go home and hang out
Don't feel
alone.
guilty
Yeah.
watching TV.
We like just never had fun. We like only wanted to work.
Wait,
We're
are
like,
these goals or these are little things you're telling yourself? Like they're little like you should write them on your mirror.
It'd be like
affirmations.
make an EP and go out sometimes. Like those were our goals.
Have friends.
Yeah.
We should like make a coffee table book of like
should.
all of our intention
Letters to the
lists.
universe.
Yeah. So Kelty's were really funny, but then her last one, because there were 6 each of us, I think, and her last one said, "Give Christina magic motivational moonbeams."
Oh.
And mine were I did quit smoking because I was a smoker. Play 3 shows, meet and marry Jason Mraz,
Okay.
get a record deal. This was Kelty made me write that one because I was like,
Yeah.
And then my last one was bask in Kelty's magic motivational moonbeams. So I think that's important
She is
because
your
like,
grandmother.
really put that out there, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, fast forward to like whatever, 28 days later, we're there and this guy breaks up with her on Match.com and she's like, Christina, she calls me. I just got home from work. I'm like super tired. She's like, please come over and play guitar. I need to dance. And I was like, because she's like a like contemporary dancer or whatever. And I'm like, no. Like, I'm super tired. I'm in my pajamas. Like, no.
Yeah.
Like, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
She's like, no, come on. I already moved all my furniture and lit all my candles. And I was like, if you weren't my best friend, okay. And so I'm like, but I'm coming in my PJs. She's like, fine.
Yeah.
So I come over. The whole room's dark. She has this like stool in the corner. I sit there with my guitar. She puts a beret on my head. And she says, play Black and Blue, which is a song of mine because she's my only fan, so only she would know my song. She says, play this, and I'm going to dance. So
She's like applauding.
So I sit there, I play the song, and Kelty like straight up, so you think you can dance dances.
Oh my God.
And when she's done, I'm like, are you done? Yeah. She's like, I feel so much better. And so we stand on her balcony. This is a true story too, because this would be like in the Disney movie when like a shooting star shoots by.
Right.
We're standing there. She like puts her arm around me, and she's like, you know, Chris, she's like, I just feel like you need a real manager, like someone who actually knows people and like can like, you know, really tell you what to do and introduce you to people you need to know. But I like really think that, you know, that's what you need and it's going to be all good. Like we're going to find that person. And I've got my arm around her. I'm like, yeah. Okay, bye. So I go across the street, I go to bed, swear to God, wake up in the morning to an email on Facebook from a guy named Tom Gates. And he says, hey, just saw a video of you playing the guitar while somebody's dancing.
Because she filmed it?
She filmed it.
Oh my God.
On a point and shoot and posted it. because
Without telling you?
No, but it was like, you know, it was
Risky.
2010.
She
Like, it was
posted
her
on
MySpace.
Facebook.
Yeah, it was.
my God.
No, it was. She tweeted it, so I guess she YouTubed it.
Okay.
But anyway, I kind of didn't care. Like whatever.
Yeah.
It was like her dance vlog. You know what I mean? Like I was just in it. And so he's like, I saw this video of someone dancing and you playing guitar, and I just really loved it. And I was poking around on your YouTube because I had like no views, but I had videos up there because I do covers and stuff. And he was like, and I just really love everything. And I manage a guy named Jason Mraz.
No.
We just screamed.
I know, that was so cute. Yes, guys. Yes. And
Story is crazy.
I swear, and it gets crazier. I'm just warning you. That's why I said buckle up. Remember I said buckle up? This is how we
This is a perfect
started.
episode to start with. Tell us.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I have a heart attack. I think I throw up a little.
Oh my God.
And I called Kelty like screaming, like this guy, and he's like, can we meet? This
Yeah.
is the email. I have it. I can still show you. And by the way, that video is still on YouTube of Kelty dancing and me playing guitar. So
everyone
everyone
stop
can
this
fact check
podcast
me.
and go find it.
We should post on the Instagram
we
just the
should.
email.
The
Yeah.
link. Yeah, sure. So anyway, so Tom emails me and then he's like, do you have a bio or whatever? And then Kelty comes over like running in her pajamas. You know, we're both like freaking out. And I'm like, of course I have a bio. And like we write a bio.
Yeah.
And we send it to him. And he's like, let's get together. Cause he's like, the Grammys are today. It was Grammy Sunday of that year. And he was like, let's get together tomorrow. So I meet him the next day.
Yeah.
And he and his partner Ryan work for Bill Silva, who manages Jason Mraz. Like it's a real thing.
Whoa.
And I'm
you
just
must
like,
have thought
holy
you were gonna marry him.
Yeah.
Because you're like, obviously that's coming.
I did. For the next 3 years of my life, I thought that. Anyway, we'll get into that or maybe not. So we just hit it off, whatever. And then they put me in the studio because they're like, you know, you got to make a demo. Like you don't have any recorded music. Like, okay. So, but I'm like, cool, I'm a waitress like all the time. And they're like, that's fine. Like we'll find a guy who's busy too. But like on your off times, you guys can make music. So cut to like 3 months go by. I mean, it took forever for us to always be free at the same time. Or for like, you know, we made like 3 songs in a demo. And one of them was Jar of Hearts. So
And how'd you choose your song? Like, did they help you choose them?
So I did. So I remember like, I must have thought Jar Full of Hearts was worth it. You know what I mean? Like, cause I picked it.
Yeah.
I think I just really loved it. And so I transposed it to piano with a guy named Drew Lawrence. Like, so it was this guy Barrett and Drew and me. And then we sort of rewrote it a little bit. Like I still have the YouTube video of Jar Full of Hearts cause it was up on YouTube for a long time.
How did that go? Like,
how did you sing that? Is it the same?
collecting you. Jar full of hearts, like
collecting a jar full of hearts.
cool.
Yeah, it was a little more singer-songwritery.
Why'd
know?
you change it?
I think the timing. I think because when I made it poppier and to piano, I think it was like the rhythm of it didn't match and just dropped it. Like you know how these things go, like you don't overthink it. I didn't know it was going to be my song forever that, you know, I was just like,
so crazy.
You know?
Do you ever think like that tiny little decision might have changed the course of the song or something?
Yeah,
I always think
do. Now I do. I'm like, shit, maybe that was the best thing ever, you know?
So
like,
crazy.
Or what, who knows? I don't ever get to know. But, so we put on piano, and then I remember it was the first time I was ever singing harmonies with myself, which on Jar there's a ton, like it's 3-part, like almost the whole thing, and like it was just so exciting. I remember, so I guess I was really thinking like that I would give it to someone else though. Like even though I was having the best time ever performing it, well, this is why I was like wrong. You know what I mean? The universe was like, oh, she doesn't know yet, but like I was like really loving it, but I was still thinking like, oh, I'm way too shy to like perform this. You know what I mean? I just felt like I was making a demo, and because I even said to Tom and Ryan, my managers, that like I wasn't sure what we were going to do.
Right.
So anyway, I make it and I send it to Kelty, right? She's in this story, by the way, like 7 times. So I sent it to my best friend like anyone would, like, hey, best friend, oh my God, look how cool I sound, you know? And you deserve this. This is all you, basically. And so I send it to her and I'm like, but obviously don't show anyone, please. And so she's like, cool. Instantly forwards it to Stacey Tukey from So You Think You Can Dance.
How'd she know her?
Best friends since they were kids in Canada.
Way.
The story is insane.
I know. They grew up together, danced in the same studio, like best friends since they were like 3. So she says, and I have this email too. It's like, hey, you got to check out this song, Stacey. It's my best friend, Christina. Maybe one day you can play it on your show. And Stacey says, how about Wednesday?
Oh my God.
So this was a Friday, I remember.
chills.
So this was now June like 27th or something. And the song played at 8 p.m. on June 30th, 2010.
And did you think it was going to be like, what'd you think?
Oh my God. Well, you have to try to imagine, like, I thought nothing. I was like, I'm a waitress. I'm like, you know, even though I have managers, we've not signed anything. I have this producer guy, we've not signed anything. I'm not performing. I'm not developed. I'm not like all the things we do now. Like, I don't have a following. I told you, Kelty's my only fan. You know what I mean? Like, and so but I remember saying to my managers, like, hey, this is going to happen. Like, what does that mean? Like, they were like, well, we need to like take a photo of the single cover. Like we like made up a record label. So it was like Perry Lane Records is what it came out on.
And like got it on iTunes?
Yeah, by pulling a ton of favors. So my manager Ryan knew this guy Jordan at iTunes and was like, dude, can you just do us a favor and like put it up on the splash page like at 8 p.m. like on this day, because like, you know, whatever, it's coming out, it's gonna be on TV. So definitely whenever I look back, because I always try to think of like what were the things. Yeah. And I've thought about it often. And I figured out that because what happened, like there were 7 other songs on that show. So basically, if everyone listening doesn't know what happened, like at 8 p.m., my whole life changed. Like literally, like it went to the top of the charts. I signed a record deal. I never waitressed again. Like my whole life changed forever. At that exact moment, that's the biggest ceiling break. That's your answer, right? Are we done here? I'm just gonna. So,
it's the best answer ever.
Thanks. But I thought about it, like I said, a lot, and I think that there's like all these different art forms, right? So you've got the song, you have television, which is an incredible vehicle. You've got dancers. So like the choreography is its own art form.
Telling you a story
and then the
too.
dancers are their own art form. Then the TV, then the music, and then magic. There's got to be like a end magic that like I don't get to know what that part was. Because like why did none of the other songs on the show that night go? You know what I mean? And like
there's so many little details that have to line up.
And timing and like what the world needs. Like what people are craving.
True.
Like
well, so what happened really was it airs on the show. They take away your phone, like at CBS when you go to those shows. And I took off work because I was like, oh, this will be cool. Like I just like, they were going to, I was going to watch it happen with Kelty. She was sobbing hysterically next to me the whole time.
I love her so much.
I was sitting there going, wow, like my voice is so loud. Like I just remember thinking like, I've never heard my voice that loud. You know, because it was like filled this whole studio. And it was only a minute and a half of the song that they played. And so literally when it's over, I'm like, well, that was fun.
How cool.
Yeah. And I'm just like, think I'm going to turn around and go back to my life. And they give me my phone back and I had 7,000 friend requests on Facebook. And I'm like, what the heck? Like, you know what I mean? Like all of a sudden, like if this is a movie, all of a sudden it's going to go like slow-mo right here. And I'm going to be like, what's happening? And like my manager calls me, he's like, you're 36 on the chart. And I'm like, what chart? Like, what does that even mean? Like, I didn't know they were doing all that with
God.
iTunes.
Yeah.
I didn't know that, like, the girl who wasn't even hired at their office, she was in San Francisco as an intern, and her
Oh
name's
my
Philly,
God.
and she's the greatest person ever. And she was geotagging anyone that, like, Googled my name spelled the wrong way, like the lyrics, like it would all shoot
Wow.
to this song. So I sold
Wow.
220,000 singles.
Holy shit.
Everyone wants to write that song.
That's
such a
so amazing.
unbelievable
Isn't that crazy?
thing. Yeah.
That is so amazing.
What truly happened next was I stayed up the entire night
Oh,
because
yeah.
every single person like didn't write me like, wow, cool, love your song. It was like, oh my God,
Yeah.
I almost killed myself and didn't.
Yeah.
I got divorced.
Yeah.
I'm a mother of 4 kids. This
Yeah.
song, like, you know what it's like
Yeah.
when you like really like tap into something like that. And it
Right.
was so emotional. Like I couldn't sleep because it was like, I just wanted to write
You didn't
everything.
want to
Yeah,
miss.
of course,
You didn't want to miss
of course.
anything.
Yeah, like
I mean,
this is
how
the
could
first
you?
time I've ever talked to the world.
Yeah.
So like, I was like, oh, well, clearly I'm going to respond. So like,
Yeah.
everyone will tell you. Maybe the first couple, like maybe 10,000 people that wrote to me, I wrote them back. Like
Yeah.
I was just like, I had an email address, and I just like wrote to everybody when I could in between like everything, and because it was just felt so important.
No,
like,
I get
not
that.
like I'm important.
No,
It
no, I
felt
get
like-
that. And that's
Yeah.
what I've never had a night like that, but I've since I put my album out, I've noticed everywhere I go and I sing, or every time I go on my Instagram or something, I have like messages of people like really going through heartbreak.
Yeah.
And it's
Right.
this really surreal thing where it's like, it makes sense because when you're so open and personal
Yeah.
and honest and tell your personal story,
Yeah.
people can feel it, and they're like, okay, then I'm going to tell you back. Like you
Yeah.
give permission for them to tell you, and so
Right.
I can't even imagine how much.
Well, it's the same. It's
you
the same
felt.
feeling. Yeah.
Yeah.
But definitely for the first time ever overnight, like to be a waitress and then to have this.
Yeah.
It definitely was crazy. So I'm pretty sure I didn't sleep for a couple days. Like people always
Yeah.
tried to
Oh my God.
ask me like what that first week was like. Cause
Yeah.
it felt like winning
I
the
know. I was
lottery.
about to ask that.
Yeah.
You're like
Yeah.
jumping up and down, right? It's like it's the lottery, literally.
It's
Yeah.
the lottery, and it's also was so fast. So Tom and I flew to New York City the next day, and because Jar was like top 5 for I want to say a week, like it went up to maybe 4. I forget
Wow.
like what it went to, but it stayed there. So every record label offered me a deal,
Mm-hmm.
and which is crazy because I was like, what? Like
Oh my
it's not
God.
supposed to be me.
How did you feel?
That's the other part because I was like,
Right.
wait, I'm not
Right.
supposed to sing it.
Right.
So like felt pretty conflicted. And at the same time I didn't because like
Yeah.
in real time I was just showing up. I had
Yeah.
no time to have
Yeah.
self-doubt. I'd say like it's the one thing I didn't have time for.
That's nice.
Right.
Couldn't even
Thank
think
God.
about it.
Yeah. I was like, I mean, it was insane. Like between like doing, I just started doing radio promo right away because they played it on the radio right away. Like it was just
Whoa.
like, what? Ugh, you know, like I just, it was insane.
But
That's so cool.
what's so beautiful about that, and what I feel like probably helped it continue to connect and grow,
Yeah.
was like because you didn't have a time, like you were just a person
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
said something that happened to you,
Right.
and then you were just sharing that story. Like there was no time for you to like, you know, like when I got signed multiple times on like potential, you know, so it's like,
Yeah.
oh, we're gonna create this thing,
Right,
and the
right.
problem with that is
Yeah.
that's suck. Like you want a human, you want a
Right.
person, and you want a story.
Yeah.
And so what's so amazing about that is like you're just yourself, and it just happened, and you didn't
Right.
have time. No one
Yeah.
had time
Right.
to like manufacture you. They're like,
Totally.
sorry, this is
Yeah.
just who she is.
Yeah.
You know.
Although I'd say there's a good and a bad part, like everything, because
Yeah.
the no time was awesome for the reason you just
Yeah.
said it was. And then the thing that wasn't awesome was like the trauma of it.
Oh, for sure.
Do you know
Oh,
what I mean?
exactly,
for
yeah.
So like, you know, trauma from a scale 1 to 10, good or bad, it just
Yeah.
was happening. I was
Yeah.
in fight or flight for probably like a whole year. Like I
yeah.
didn't like come down
Right.
and realize what happened for
Maggie
a while.
Rogers talks about
I was
that
just
a
about
lot.
to bring her up.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because she had a similar thing. Like she had this crazy viral.
The
Right,
song,
right,
the
right.
Pharrell thing,
Yeah.
and then
Oh, right.
she just like was like no, and
Yeah.
like went away, and then her song "Light On" is about that. It was
Yeah.
like keep the light on, like I don't have to
And
be
I think,
scared.
and it makes a lot of sense. I think it might be hard for people to understand because it seems like it's like the lottery, congrats, but it's not that simple.
then it's all eyes on you.
Yeah.
100% of the time.
Yeah,
Scared.
especially I was not like you guys singing into my hairbrush
Right,
as
right,
a
right.
kid. Like,
Right,
look at
right.
me, look at me. Like, I have to seriously take that into
Guilty.
to play.
and all of a
that
sudden
I
they're
was
like, sing for us, sing for us, sing for us. Yeah, that's
and
scary.
I was like, ugh. And the worst part, I shouldn't say the worst part. The best part is,
Yeah.
like, I'm supposed to do it. My body did it, showed up for me when
Yeah.
I like mentally couldn't, and that's sort of been a thread throughout my whole career. Is like I always think I can't, and I do it anyway. And like I've never.
I love that.
That's it.
I gotta say, a
That's the
theme
truth.
of this episode that I feel like we haven't really talked about much on this podcast yet is bravery.
Bravery, yeah.
Which I'm into because you forget
the fake
how-
it till you make it.
Yeah.
Well, we're in a town where we like are supposed to forget that like everybody's scared. Like you're supposed
Everyone,
to forget.
no one knows what they're doing. I promise.
No.
I know everyone looks like they know what they're doing,
Yeah.
but
And
they
they're-
don't.
they're lying.
You just like
Maybe
go,
it's because
yeah.
I live on the East Coast now. Like I've gotten
Yeah.
away. Like, oh my God, what are we all doing? And
Right.
I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine.
Yeah.
We're not fine.
Yeah, and it's like the scare. Not only is chasing a dream period require bravery, but being an artist requires so much bravery. Like sharing yourself like that, like
Yeah.
it requires so much courage. And I feel like we never even really
and
talk
there
about
are,
that.
I know, and there are highs and lows with that too.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I'll like win a Grammy for arranging, and then the next week be arranging and feel like a 10-year-old that's in his
Totally.
first lesson that
Yeah.
literally doesn't know how to play the piano, and I'll be like, I'm a joke, I'm a literal fluke, and
yeah. Oh my
we all
God.
like do it. It's horrible. All right, you guys, that concludes part 1 of our conversation with Christina Perri. Be sure to tune in next time on Ugh, You're So Good to hear the second part of the conversation. See y'all then.